Well, I was sitting inside last night watching Homestead Rescue with the Rainies. I actually really like that show. It's Hollywood, you know, it's fake stuff. I don't discredit the Rainies any. I discredit the producers of the show. But it's an alright show. It gives you some good ideas. Oftentimes a bit extreme. But, you know, the one thing that rings true on that show that just absolutely baffles me is people that don't have a well. I don't understand how you would ever think you're going to go out and homestead without a good source of water. I don't get it. But hey, you know, they got something they think's working for them, I guess. But I can tell you right now, the first thing we did, we poured the slab, we framed the house, and we drilled the well. That was it. There was no, oh, I'm going to go haul it from town, or I'm going to go pump it from here or there. Think about the cost, the labor cost, if nothing else, of going and fetching water every day. That's insane. Anyway, not the point of this video. The point is I was watching that show, and then I was sitting there scrolling through my phone on Facebook, being a lazy turd, looking at a homestead group on Facebook, and somebody posted and was like, hey, what do you guys think about this show? And there's all the comments back and forth, and I'm like, oh, I'm reading all the drama about the show, and I thought, I feel like such a turd right now. I'm watching a show about homesteading. I'm reading gossip about the show about homesteading. I got stuff I gotta do. 9:30 at night, I came out, I decided to plant some fruit trees because I was like, this is stupid. So I did this last night, but I'm going to show you guys what I did, and I want to tell you what I experienced. What I did last night, I'll show you here in a bit, the two trees that I transplanted. I think one's a pear, and I think the other one's a plum based on its branching structure, but the tags fell off of it. But actually what I want to tell you guys about was these fabric pots. So these, I don't remember what they're called. I'm going to try to go back through my records and figure out where I bought them. I don't remember if I bought them from Greenhouse Megastore or Amazon or what, but I bought these things years ago. Probably, my arm's getting tired holding my phone out like this. Probably, if you go back a couple years, maybe I'll find the video too. I went to a local plant nursery here in Houston every spring about this time, which this video is going to be late before you guys see it, but I released a video last year on time about it. January, mid to late January, the Houston Garden Centers get all their spring fruit trees in, but their sign is still on the 50 to 70% off sale that they run through the late summer and winter. So you can go in there and you can get this stuff really cheap, but they raise that price. By the end of January, they will raise the price to full price. So you got to jump in there and grab them. There's only about a 1 or maybe 2 week window that they get the stock in that you can go get it that cheap. So I went a couple years ago and I stocked up. I bought like 2 of every fruit tree that I liked. The citrus was not on sale, but all your apples, pears, plums, peaches, all that was on sale. So I bought like 2 of every variety. I tried to get cross-pollinating varieties, and I didn't really have any plans for them then. So I brought them home, and they sat out on my back deck for, I think, that whole summer. They stayed in the little like 4-gallon pots that they came in. And then I was like, well, I need to do something with them, but I didn't have a plan out here at the farm to put them yet because we were still living in the suburbs. But I was like, these things, they got to be potted up or else they're going to get root bound. So I went and I bought these fabric pots. Again, no idea what quality they were. I was like, whatever. I'll just get them and I'll try them. The idea, of course, is that as the roots grow out, they hit the edge of the pot. If they poke through, they sense air. That root tip dies. The root backs up and it sprouts a new root further back. So it should make you a nice fibrous root ball. Did it really do that? I don't know. I didn't knock the dirt off last night to look. But the fact is, these trees have been in these pots for, I'm going to have to go back and look. It's at least 3 years. At least 3 years. Might have been 4 years. Let's see, it's January 2019 now. We bought the property January of 2013. I'm trying to think if I would have been so eager to have bought them in 2015 or not. Anyway, at least 3 years that they have been in these fiber pots, and I have severely neglected these trees. I had them on automatic drippers for a year at my place in the burbs, and then I thought I had a place to, we started moving out here, so I moved them out here and stuck them here in the dirt spring of 2017 when we started building. I wanted to get stuff to start. I want to start moving stuff out here, just getting it out of the burbs, getting everything I could brought out here. You know, we were making a trip almost every day, so I brought them out here, stuck them off here in the woods, just somewhere that I knew was safe, out of the way. They get some afternoon sun. They're down in a little low spot, so they don't get flooded. When it rains a lot, they have water around the base of the pot, but otherwise it drains off. So it's actually a really good spot to put them because it's kind of like an automatic watering system. And now they've sat there for 2 more years. I have watered them once, maybe twice, that I was down here doing something, running the water pump or something, and was like, oh, let me spray some water on them. But otherwise, on their own. No fertilizer, no nothing. I'm not bragging about that. I'm just telling you that's what happened. And these suckers are resilient. These trees, they don't look great, but most of them have survived. I've lost a couple here and there that have died off, but most of them have survived despite being in those pots. Well, when I went to transplant them last night, I went to pick the pot up and I couldn't. So here's where there was the 2 pots last night, right here. This root right here was out the base of the pear tree, had grown out through the bottom of the fiber pot. And I'm actually okay with that because that thing has put down a root almost an inch around through the bottom of the pot into the soil. That pear tree would have grown there forever. That pot would have eventually rotted. But actually the pots have held up. I ripped the handle on one last night, but given they've been out in the weather for, like I said, I think 4 years, that these pots have been sitting there wet, dry, sun, they've held up a lot better than I thought they would. I figured they'd be gone after a year. So I am impressed with that. I'll find the link for that. I'll put it in the bottom of the video here. I would highly recommend those pots for anybody else. Granted, I bought them 3 years ago, so I don't know what the quality of them today would be if anything's changed. Anyway, show you the trees here. This is the one that I think is a plum, just based on how branchy it is. At some point in time, I had put a tree tag on it here and marked it, but I didn't use indelible ink, so it faded and washed away. And this thing is actually, can you guys see that? It's actually trying to already push out some little spring leaves. So I think it's a plum. And then, got a cobweb in my mouth. This one over here is the pear. It actually still has its tree tag somehow. This is supposed to be a pineapple pear. Can you guys read that? No, it's in the shadow. Maybe, there you go. Pineapple pear. That's what it's supposed to be anyway. We'll see. And this one has actually started to put up a kind of a sucker here. That's from below the graft, so I'm going to chop that off. I just left it on there for right now. Yeah, I did this last night after dark, so I just kind of wanted to get them in the dirt. Still got some leaves from last year still hanging on here. But I thought I saw on it that it was pushing some buds as well from this year. Maybe not, but it is still pliable, so it's not dried out, bent, broken. It's not dead. I dug these up, or I took them out of the pots, and I planted them. Last spring I made a video how I was starting my orchard. I planted 6 apple trees out here. Why did I plant so many? Because they die. I'm down to 2 apple trees left. For some reason, the 3 that were in this row, closer to the drop off here, I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not. 3 all in the same row died. 3 all in the other row behind me here. Let's see. Where's the compost? There's one right there, right there. That's so funny. Those 3 all lived until a couple weeks ago when the goats decided to get up on this one right here. It was planted here. It had 2 or 3 little leaves in the top of it, and they just couldn't help themselves. They had to stand up on it, and when they jumped up against it, it snapped off at the graft. So I'm down to 2 of the 6. I think I've got a couple maybe still over there in pots. I honestly can't remember. So I just said, you know what? Screw it. I want to have a good block of apple trees for cross-pollination. I was going to do a block of peaches and pears. I'm just going to plant them wherever. The bee yard is right here. I mean, well, maybe you guys can't see through the sun. Whatever. The bee yard is not even 50 yards from the apple tree or from the fruit trees for right now. So they're going to be pollinated fine. Not concerned about that. But yeah, I wanted to show you guys that these fiber pots, so they were so rooted in, I actually cut them off. So here's what's left of it anyway. I just cut it with my pocket knife, with a razor knife, to get it off there, because you can see how many roots and stuff are still in here. The little fine roots that were embedded in the fabric, that when I ripped it off, they kind of ripped off too. But most of the roots stayed with the tree for sure. I cut all the way around, and I actually tried to work it off around some of the bigger roots. But yeah, this fabric, it feels like some sort of felt material, I think. Like I said, I am thoroughly impressed with how well this stuff held up. Yeah, in fact, there was something else I was going to show you. Really, I want to tell you about the pots. As far as planting the fruit trees, I dug out where an apple tree had been. The soil was actually still pretty loose. The soil's not great, but these trees, they were growing crooked in the pots because they were just growing towards whatever sun they could get. So when I planted them, the base of them is actually planted a little on an angle so that the tree itself is now standing straight back up. But planted them in, I put some of this lovely composted cow manure that I have, since I have a lot of it and I have access to a lot more of it. I put that all in around it as a potting mix, packed it in, and then put the native soil back in around that. So here we go again. Let's try. But I've got one more dead apple tree there that also snapped off. I actually killed that one myself like a fool. I hit it with the tractor bucket at some point, snapped it off, and it just never recovered. So I'll take blame for that one. So it's 1 me, 1 goats, 2 nature. Yeah. And I guess the 2 nature really could be blamed on me, probably for lack of watering. I don't know. But yeah, mostly I want to tell you guys about the fiber pots, and give you a little update on the orchard. We'll walk back over here and see what I got left. I don't even remember. Like I said, most of them are missing the tags. There's some citrus in here, and this past spring is kind of funny. They actually put fruit on, even in these little pots. I had a couple little plums and a couple little peaches, and of course, by the time I thought they were ripe, the squirrels had already took them. But again, interesting to me that they're trying, even stuck in these little pots, which I guess they're not really stuck if they punch roots out. But let's just see what I've got in here. If anything's left. Moro blood orange. That's this one here. That looks like it's coming up above the graft. This whole part of the tree looks dead, but it's got something coming up here above the graft. This one here, a fig. I don't even think I like figs, to be honest with you. Maybe I'll save them for goat treats or something, because I don't think I care for them. My neighbor gave me some last summer I didn't really like. Nectarine of some sort. The actual corner where it actually has the name here by my thumb is actually ripped off, but it says enough to say nectarine. Oh, here was a pecan that died. Of course, yeah, the dead one would still have its tag on it. But like I said, I think there's some peaches still in here that are still alive. Don't know what that one is, but it's dead. Snapped right off. That looks like probably a peach. The peaches were taller. The peaches and pears were taller. They were some of the bigger ones I had. But anyway, I'll have to just go through and look and see. I'm not going to make you guys walk through that. What in the hell? How does a dog poop on top of a cluster of grass? That is disgusting. You guys probably didn't need to see that. That just, wow. That's like halfway up to my knee. That was a tall dog, I guess. Okay. Enough of that nonsense. I really want to tell you about the fiber pots. Very impressed with them. And I'm also very impressed with how well the trees did, kind of in this little self-watering low spot that I put them in. Again, not saying it's good to neglect them like that, but I did, and it was okay, I guess. Some died, but not all. And definitely, if you get the chance, check out Houston Garden Center. I might actually push this video and publish it like now if I remember to, so you guys get a chance to see it. If you're in the Houston area, check out the Houston Garden Centers. Cheap trees early in the spring, but it's a very short sale.